Hola and buenos dias. Magandang umaga. I'm Tiki Ainake, a member of your worship arts team. My pronouns are they and them. Soy Tiki Ainake, miembro de su equipo de artes de adoración. Mis pronombres son ella y ella. Ako si Tiki Ainake, miembro ng inyong worship arts team. Ang mga panghalip ko ay siya y sila. Welcome to Unitarian Universalist Church of Fresno. Welcome to all of us on our online church. Please share this live stream with your friends and followers. Welcome to everyone on our Alluvial Ave campus. Welcome to those of us joining this service at our own time and pace, thanks to Facebook and YouTube. We are one congregation in many places. Somos una congregación en muchos lugares. Tayo ay isang kongregasyon sa maraming lugar. As Unitarian Universalists, we practice extreme inclusivity. Please know that you are welcome here no matter your race or culture of origin. You are welcome no matter your age, gender, spiritual background, or religious beliefs. You are welcome no matter your primary or secondary language. You are welcome with or without documentation, con o sin papeles. Neurodiversity is welcome here. We welcome you no matter the level of your formal education or the amount of money you possess. Disabilities are also welcome here. Everyone from the LGBTQ plus community is celebrated here. In these complex days, when our government is using gender as a tool of division, please know if you are transgender, non-binary, gender fluid, or intersex, here you are welcome. Here you are cherished, and here we hope you will feel safe. All are welcome here. Todos son bienvenidos aquí. Maligayang pagdating sa lahat. We honor the indigenous peoples on those whose land our alluvial campus sits. As a part of this recognition, we encourage you to learn more about the history of the Yokots people. On our online campus, please be sure to learn about the indigenous people who are stewards of the land where you live. If you would like a personal joy, sorrow, concern, or gratitude included in today's service, just text it to us at 559-337-3772. Please include your name in your text and type it also in the chat box if you wish. Our minister, Reverend Tim, is on his way back from a week on the East Coast. He'll be back next Sunday, April 20th, to lead our annual all-ages Easter service. Today, we're happy to welcome our guest speaker, rancher and environmentalist Cecilia Sheeter, who will offering our Earth Day themed sermon, Our Earth, Hope in the Face of Climate Change. Also, we have an update from our Pledge Drive team.
Good morning and buenos dias. My name is Mona and my pronouns are she, her. Mi nombre es Mona y mi pronombre es ella. And I serve gratefully as the co-lead of our Pledge Drive team, along with Cheyenne Genby, who's there today on the Alluvial Ave campus. Today is the last in-person Pledge Drive update for a while. Most of our pledges are in, but there are some that we know will eventually come in. So for the next couple of weeks, our pledge team will be reaching out via phone calls, texts, letters, carrier pigeons, singing telegrams, and weeping and begging to secure those last pledges needed to bring our Pledge Drive 2025 to a successful end. If you've not yet made your pledge, or let us know that you're unable to pledge this year, could you please do so today? Knowing how much financial support we will receive allows us to finalize the budget for our upcoming fiscal year beginning July 1st. We also need and encourage new first-time pledgers who want to join us in keeping UU Fresno's progressive values front and center in the Central Valley and beyond. The pledges for the past week have been totaled, including the generous grant that matched every pledge or pledge increase dollar for dollar up to $5,000. For our current total, I'll hand it back to Cheyenne.
Thank you, Mona. The pledge drive team is happy to announce we now have a total of, drumroll please, $561,451. That is 93.6% of our goal of $599,760.
Yeah!
Woo! We only have 38,299 left to go. And a big thank you to everyone who has already made their pledge. Please know how grateful we are that you are helping us stay together in love and justice. And to those who are able to make their pledge today, thank you. Gracias.
Now, in person or in the quiet of our hearts, let's say good morning, buenos dias to each other. If you are preferring to stay in your own private space, feel free to let this moment pass without engaging in the noise and movement. Buenos dias, everyone.
Good morning. So wonderful to see so many people here and so many people happy to be here. The theme for our this month is joy, and I think I see it in the crowd. I'm Linda Knight, and my pronouns are she, her, and I serve as a member of the worship arts team, and it's my joy to be your worship leader today. This is our annual Earth Day service, and we're exploring the topic, Our Earth, Hope in the Face of Climate Change. As Tiki mentioned, Reverend Tim is out of the pulpit this week. In fact, he's out of town this week. And we're joined today by our guest speaker, Cecilia Sheeter. You acknowledge Cecilia. Later in the service, Cecilia will share with you her prepared speech, the story of the devastation and eventual regrowth of the meadows and forests in and around her Madera ranch. She'll also have some slides to share with you so that you can see what that looked like. Now, let's allow the sound of the tingsha to lead us gently into a place of peace and tranquility.
2, 3, 4.
Paradise in front of a parking lot, with a pink hotel, a boutique, and a swinging hot spot. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? Pink paradise, put up a parking lot. Took all the trees, to the tree museum. And they charge the people $1.50 just to see 'em. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They pay paradise and put up a parking lot. Hey, farmer, farmer, put away that DDT now. Give me spots on my apples, but leave me the birds and the bees. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They pay paradise and put up a parking lot. Late last night, I heard the swing doors play, and a big yellow taxi took away my old man. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone? They pay paradise and put up a parking lot. They pay paradise and put up a parking lot. They pay paradise, put up a parking lot.
For those of you on our online campus, if you have a candle or chalice handy, bring it close now as we'll be lighting our chalice soon. Connie Young, fresh from maybe not so fresh, revitalized from yesterday's Earth Day Fresno event, will offer our chalice lighting words and thoughts.
Good morning, buenos dias. Today, I light the chalice in honor of this congregation's steadfast support for Earth Day. In 1970, the first Earth Day celebrations were teach-ins that were held on college campuses across the country. That year, the late Dick Haas, then a biology professor and UU, helped organize the first Earth Day teach-in at Fresno State. In subsequent years, Earth Day events were held only sporadically in our community until 2010, when the UU Social Justice team decided to maintain a tradition of an annual Earth Day celebration. They began by hosting an Earth Day event right here on our campus. Every year thereafter, UUs have given their time and talent to help plan and put on Earth Day Fresno, including the one held yesterday. In addition, the entire congregation has given generously to help support this event financially. Celebrating Earth Day is one way to uphold Unitarian Universalism's value of interdependence, which recognizes the interconnectedness of all beings and acknowledges our place in the web of existence. Earth Day is especially important today when science and the environment are under attack. What may appear to the casual observer to be just an innocuous outdoor festival is, in fact, a pleasantly subversive way to publicize and swell the ranks of Fresno's environmental advocates and activists. By all means, let's keep this tradition alive. In that spirit, please light your chalice or candle at home. And Linda, will you please candle the flame in our Alluvial Avenue chalice?
Let us rise now, in body or spirit, and join Tai Tai Wind and Stolen Thunder in singing our song of praise, Garden Song.
2, 3, 4.
Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, someone bless these seeds I sow. Someone warm them from below till the rain comes tumbling down. Pulling weeds and picking stones, we are made of dreams and goals. I feel the need to grow my own, 'cause the time is close at hand. Grain for grain, sun and rain, I'll find my way in nature's chain. I'll tune my body and my brain to the music of the land. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, someone bless these seeds I sow. Someone warm them from below till the rain comes tumbling down. Plant a rose, sweet and long, temper them with a prayer and song. Mother Earth will keep you strong if you give her love and care. And won't grow watching hungrily from his perch in yonder tree. In my garden I must read as a feather thief up there. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, someone bless these seeds I sow. Someone warm them from below till the rain comes tumbling down.
And please remain standing and join in the words of our mission statement. La misión de la Iglesia Unitaria Universalista de Fresno es amar inclusivamente, servir con gratitud y trabajar por la justicia. The mission of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Fresno is to love inclusively, grow spiritually, serve gratefully, and work for justice. Please be seated. Will the kids please gather at the back of the church with our children's Sunday service program team, and then head out the center doors, and we will now sing our kids off to church school.
We hold you in our love as you go, as you go. May your heart be at peace as you go. To nurture the spark of your precious life. We hold you in our love as you go.
Meager today, but there are a lot of joys out there that just aren't being spoken. Jamie has a joy and a gratitude to Lisa Lindsay, who will be the representative for UUCF at the UUA General Assembly. conference in Baltimore, my hometown, in June. Kim wants to share that her family welcomed a giant Flemish rabbit a couple of weeks ago. I don't know what one looks like. Maybe you'll share a photo with us sometime. And we are attuning to its sweet character and sensitivity. Mother Nature is so special when you can have a furry companion. I agree. As we settle into a more quiet space, let's connect to our breath as we breathe in peace and breathe out love. Breathe in peace. Breathe out love. And one last time, breathe in peace. Breathe out love. As we continue to breathe together in this shared space, this space of hope and possibility, let our breath carry us back over the past 7 days. And as we breathe, take a moment of reflection. What aspect of Mother Earth gave you joy this past week? Was it your hands in the garden soil? The poppies in your neighbor's front yard? And what intention do you hope to carry with you in the coming week? And I've already shared the joys and sorrows. Sorry I did it out of place. Now we celebrate our beloveds who cannot be with us for health or mobility issues, including Judy P., Armin B., Glenda R., Pat M., and Robin C. Normally in this part of the service, we recount what has happened in our country and in the world in the past 7 days. But because our theme this month is joy, and our service today is about hope, I'm going to instead share with you one of my favorite songs. It's Steve Earle's song, Jerusalem, one that perhaps unaccountably brings me joy and fills me with hope every time I listen to it on my iPod. It has a decidedly upbeat country rock feel with maybe a jazzy sound, and it has a harmonica playing in the background. And it reminds me that justice and humility will indeed prevail. He starts off singing, "I woke up this morning and none of the news was good. Death machines were rumbling around the ground where Jesus stood. And the man on my TV told me it had always been this way, and there was nothing anyone could do or say." But he goes on to sing, and I almost listened to him. Yeah, I almost lost my mind. And I regained my senses again, looked into my heart to find, I believe that one fine day, all the children of Abraham will lay down their swords forever in Jerusalem. I believe there'll come a time when the lion and the lamb will lie down in peace together in Jerusalem. And in that spirit of hope and joy, I light our candle of community.
When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. Cuando respiro, respiro paz. Cuando exhalo, exhalo amor. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. Cuando respiro, respiro paz. Cuando exhalo, exhalo amor. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. Cuando respiro, respiro paz. Cuando exhalo, exhalo amor.
Let us join together in the spirit of reflection or prayer to Mother Earth, adapted from the words of Lucy Bunch. We pray to you, Mother Earth, with gratitude for the air, water, and soil that feed us, for the mountains and rivers and oceans that calm our spirits. We pray to you, Mother Earth, for forgiveness, for our ignorance and willful disregard of the damage we have done to you. We pray to you, Mother Earth, for strength as we strive to heal this beautiful planet and to live in connection with you and all life. Así sea, bendito sea. May it be so, blessed be. Amen. invite us to rise in body or spirit and join in singing, Earth is Living, a Great Garden.
2, 3, 4.
Please be seated. As you know, our guest speaker this morning is Cecilia Sheeter. She is a dedicated naturalist, enthusiastic gardener, community volunteer, avid hiker, and mother of 3. She was born into a military family through her father's naval career and spent her youth and early childhood as a world traveler. Her mother's family has deep roots in the San Joaquin Valley, and Cecilia has lived and worked on the family ranch for the past 4 decades. Taught the value and beauty of the natural world at a young age. She has always strived to be a keen observer of the flora and fauna she has encountered. Having developed a deep love for the High Sierra, the devastating effects of the Creek Fire were a pivotal moment for her. She will share with us this morning her story of transformation and hope. Please help me welcome to the pulpit Cecilia Sheeter.
Hello and buenos dias. First off, it's a real honor to be here today, and I want to thank the Unitarian Universalist Church for the opportunity to speak to you about something that's so near and dear to my heart. What I'd like to do is tell you only the beginning of a story about a meadow and the surrounding forest, both incinerated by the Creek Fire, which began in September of 2020. For me personally, it's a story about destruction and overwhelming change, but it became a story of unexpected discovery and hope. Seeing as how the creek fire raged in the Central Sierra, I think those of us in this room have very few degrees of separation between ourselves and the creek fire itself. I think we can all agree on three things: that the creek fire was big, the creek fire was bad, and the creek fire was a mega fire. My degree of separation is that we have a family cabin that sits on the far end of Huntington Lake. And just below Huntington Lake is the Southern California Edison town of Big Creek. And just below Big Creek was where the fire started. And the meadow in question, the meadow that is so pivotal to this story for me, sits above Big Creek, the town where the fire roared over. And this meadow was slammed. And like all High Sierra meadows, it was a very special place. For those of you who have done a lot of hiking or have been up in the high country and you come across a High Sierra meadow, it's kind of like it's an ah moment. And that meadow for me was my ah moment, no matter how many times I saw it, how many times I visited it through the years. It always instilled in me that ah. And like all High Sierra meadows, it was a hot spot of activity from flora and fauna, the succession of summer flowers in the High Sierra, birds, migrating birds, bears, deer, just a completely fascinating place. But it was also really special to me for another reason, and that's because this particular meadow is fed by 6 springs. And so even in the most direst of droughts, of which we've all encountered in the past decades, it always ran all summer long into fall. And so the creek fire happened, and we have this cabin up there on the far end of the lake, about a half a mile from this meadow. And the Forest Service allowed us to go in about 6 weeks after, so maybe mid-October, that the creek fire started. And because we had to shut our cabins down, and those of us who lost cabins had to try to find where their cabins were. And so my husband and I went up there, and the first thing we saw with the cabin anyway was that it was completely pink because of all the aerial spray to try to stop the fire. And then literally just a stone's throw away is where the fire roared and raged, and there was no more forest at all. And so we shut the cabin up as best we could, and we still had a couple of hours before we had to get out of there. And I just looked at my husband and I said, you know, I think I want to walk to the meadow. And he looked at me like I was insane because it was still kind of an active fire zone. There were trees still smoldering. There were trees with grotesque sort of contortions on the top of them, I think from how the resin in the tree burned. The smoke was still smoking. It was just a very devastating moments. And so he obliged, and we picked our way through the lunar landscape, devoid of any color, devoid of any sound. It was as if you had been in a Star Trek episode and you had asked Scotty to beam you down to Cinder Planet, because that's what it was like. All of your visual cues are gone because the fire was so strong and so hot, it just wiped out everything. And so we picked our way through, and we rounded the corner, and this is what we saw. Next. And the meadow is kind of in the middle, and we got to the edge of it, and you have to remember that during this time in 2020, we were in the throes of successive waves of COVID. We were once again, every day felt like Russian roulette. And these California wildfires were so big and so strong. It was just to stand on the edge of that meadow and feel that, all of that kind of come in. It was just completely overwhelming. And I burst into tears, and I noticed that the silence was so great because the creeks, the springs had stopped running. It was as if the heat of the fire was so hot it had boiled everything out of the ground. So we turned around and we walked back and came on down the hill. And I'm going to fast forward to the spring of 2021 when the Forest Service opened up the road again and said you could go on up there and open up your cabins. And so my husband and I went up and opened up the cabin, but it was a gee whiz trip. We didn't have the time, and frankly, I wasn't really sure I wanted to go to the meadow. It was just so devastating and depressing up there. And so we came back down, and about a week later, my husband said, I think you should go up to the cabin. And I was like, I don't want to go to the cabin. I mean, like, what am I going to do there? And he said, no, you just go on up. So dutifully, I packed up the car and went on up the mountain and got up there early afternoon, unpacked the car, and then it was an early June heat wave. And so everyone knows that it's 7,000 feet, 7,200 feet. The sun is powerful. Well, you take away the canopy and any sort of moisture, any sort of semblance of normalcy up there, and it was overwhelming. The sun was so bright and the glare. So I'm sort of pacing back and forth in the cabin, and it's getting toward late afternoon, and I just said, okay, Celia, you got to be a big girl now. You just got to be a big girl. Just go up and look at the meadow. That's all you have to do. So I grabbed my camera and a water bottle, and once again, I trekked through the cinder planet. No sound, no color. Every step was ash floating up. And I came around the corner again, and this is what I saw. And so there I was, standing on the edge of the meadow, and I could hear the water from the springs. They had come back over the winter. Now, we're still in, severe drought in 2021, but the springs had come back. And we're all children of the San Joaquin Valley, and where water flows, things grow. And so I'm standing there, and something's kind of fluttering to my right on a dead branch off of a remaining sort of tree. And I turned and I looked, and this guy was staring at me. And it was just this bird and me, almost in the whole universe, it felt at that moment. And I noticed right away that he was a Lawrence's goldfinch, and because I'm a polite person, I said, hello. And he continued to look at me, and Lawrence's goldfinches, I'm a lifelong birder. I started birding when I was in high school, and the Lawrence's goldfinch, in the middle of this devastation, happened to be a life bird for me. And so those of you who aren't birders, life birds are birds you've never seen before. So anytime you see a life bird and you're a birder, it's like a significant event. It's not trivial. And there was this life bird for me, staring at me still on the edge of this meadow in this cinder planet. And it hit me what I was going to do. I was going to turn lemons into lemonade. I realized that the only way I could survive this was to embrace it. And so I decided right then that I was going to bear witness to the next chapter in this section, this part of the Central Sierra that had been so devastated by the creek fire. And I was going to document anything I saw, and I wasn't going to get really wound up about the details. I wasn't going to try to identify everything. I was just going to follow my feet and just see what the earth was going to bring next, what the next chapter was. And so began the starstruck moments that are still continuing today. Next. And the first thing I noticed was that the meadow was covered with monkey flower. I'd seen monkey flower up there before. The monkey flower and then the green of the meadow grass was so bright it hurt my eyes in contrast to the surroundings. And so that that was very interesting to me because a lot of the other flowers that you normally see in a high Sierra meadow, I really didn't see that first summer that much. It was predominantly monkey flower, and I don't know if that's fire related or not, but it was just an observation. Next. And then even that first summer in the middle of drought where we really didn't have a very good snow year up there, and so the ashen soil was already dry. The first fingers of pine trees were starting to poke up. Next. And the Lawrence's goldfinches were up there all summer. They might be one of my favorite birds now. And I chose to share this shot because I learned pretty quick, or I figured out, or I was drawn to taking photographs that kind of placed sort of normalcy in the middle of all the abnormal environment. And so this is a Lawrence's goldfinch pair. The male is in the back, and there's the female. That's a blaze of monkey flower, and then those are just dead branches of trees. And she's so normal. She's preening herself. It's sort of like a sweet scene of domesticity. And it just really spoke to me. Next. And then I'm a child of the Cold War. I imagine a few people in this room are too. And I can remember in all those discussions in high school and college and even elementary school that the only things that were going to survive a nuclear holocaust were something like rats and roaches and dandelions. And it was a kind of a nuclear holocaust, these mega fires, I believe, are. And sure enough, in the burn zones, just on the edges of the meadow, dandelions were popping up all over. Next. And then the bumblebees, I have a newfound appreciation for bumblebees. They're very active up there. I think I probably notice them more now because it's just easier to focus on what's moving in these burn zones. And so this patch of sneezeweed about the size of a double bed came up in the dead willow swath that went across the meadow. And it was just covered with bumblebees, but it was kind of late in the evening, so I caught this shot just at the last light before the sun dipped over the mountain. And I thought, well, I'll just come back the next morning. It'll be a piece of cake. I'll just come back the next morning, and I'll catch some more bumblebees. So I came back the next morning. Next. And there were no bumblebees. I think it was still too cool, but there had been a hatch of these little yellow crab spiders all over this sneezeweed, this patch of sneeze. Every blossom had 2, 3, 4 crab spiders. And of course, I'm like, well, how did they get there? Because they didn't fly. I mean, how did they survive? I mean, I don't know, but there they were. And it was just super fun to see. Next. And then hedge nettle, it was very prevalent that first year on the outside of the meadow. And I learned pretty quick. I don't know if I would have seen it without taking photographs. But for the first time ever, and I've been going up there consistently since 1989, you have a horizon line. Because before you never had a horizon line because the detritus and the close plantings of the plants hadn't really, well, we won't go into all that. But at any rate, and so I found it really fascinating to take photographs of whatever was in front of me and try to incorporate the horizon line behind it because you got sort of the dead trees, the black tapers of what was remaining of the trees, and then the horizon line and kind of that kind of smoky blue color. Next. And the hedge nettles were infested, all of them with another kind of bumblebee. I don't know what kind of bumblebee this is, but they were just combing all the hedge nettle that I encountered. Next. And then the western bluebirds, I love western bluebirds. I don't know if you don't love western bluebirds, well, anyway, the western bluebirds, I've seen them up there before, and the mountain bluebirds, but not in the numbers that I see now. And from my layman's perspective, I think it's because it's a lot more open. And bluebirds kind of like open areas. And so I went up early in the morning, and there was a whole flock of them sort of playing in the water with the overflow from one of the springs. And he just flew up in on a branch at eye level. And once again, it's that juxtaposition of such a thing of beauty in such an abnormal, harsh landscape. But they did raise babies, fledged babies that first year. I watched it all. Next. And once again, that's actually a juvenile a bluebird on the right and another Lawrence's goldfinch. And it was these kind of jewels of color in the midst of just complete devastation. Next. And then as the years have gone by, I think we're 2025, so we're going into our 5th year, I guess. The meadow's kind of looking more like a regular meadow. The monkey flower is still there, but not in the pockets like it was that first summer. The shooting stars, which is the purple flower, the bistorts, which is the cotton ball flower. Oddly enough, I don't know what the flower is in the middle. They've all kind of come back, and once again, it was trying to see how many layers I could get in a shot, because placing it in the midst of the blackened forest. Next. And this was another really starstruck moment. I mean, every time I went out, it was a starstruck moment, to be honest with you, and I went out a lot. But I was coming back from the meadow in the evening. I was kind of trying to beat the sun a little bit, and came back a different way. It's pretty hard to get lost up there because you can see everywhere. And came across a huge patch of Anderson thistle, which is a native species. It's kind of like a dandelion, though. It likes the disturbed environment. And it was this huge patch, and before I even got up to the patch, it sounded like there was electricity popping everywhere. And it turned out that there were so many migrating rufous hummingbirds, they were all doing the twitters and the chits and battling each other. But it was too dark to take photographs. So I thought, I'll just come back first thing in the morning. So first thing in the morning, I grabbed my camera and my backpack and a lawn chair and trudged up over the lip of the mountain and put my lawn chair down on the outskirts of this, just on the edge of this huge patch of Anderson thistle, and the 3-ring circus began. I must have been there for 3 or 4 hours, sitting there, hundreds of rufous hummingbirds everywhere, and not only rufous hummingbirds, but Anna's hummingbirds. There were swallowtail butterflies, checker spots, all kinds of moths. It was an incredible experience. And then on the outskirts of all this sat, next please, western bluebirds on all the spikes of the dead trees, and they would go in and they'd grab a moth and go back and feed it to their young or eat it themselves. And it was just an absolutely extraordinary experience to sit there in the middle of what felt like nowhere and just see all of this activity just unfold before me. Next. And then just a quick word about the black-backed woodpeckers. I'm only including this shot because to illustrate, black-backed woodpeckers, they like burn zones. And so nature is opportunistic, and whether you like it or not, one creature's demise is another creature's opportunity. And the region around Huntington Lake has a lot of black-backed woodpeckers now that weren't there before because it's a burn zone. Next. And then the area between the Southern California Edison town of Big Creek and the lip of the Huntington Lake Basin is, I don't know if people have done that drive, but it's a one-lane road. It's a southern exposure. That fire came up over the hill. It just boiled that whole incline. And so I like to drive up that way since I'm on that end of the lake. And frankly, it was pretty dramatic until about 2 years ago. And that fire was so hot there that the manzanita still hasn't come back. It's like a manzanita graveyard. It's actually quite hauntingly beautiful because all the manzanita is contorted and white. But because in 2023, we had a pretty good rain year and snow year, that whole hillside there finally came alive. And it was absolutely breathtakingly gorgeous. And so one day I parked the car in a sort of safe spot because it's not a really safe road, and just spent another numerous starstruck hours roaming around in this incline, this landscape, through forests of 6-foot-high lupin, swaths of wild irises covered with ladybugs, yellow flowers I don't know the name of, and it was just an amazing experience. Next. And then also in the burn zones, not in the meadow itself, because we have had some pretty good rain or snow years up there, there were swaths of this blue tick seed, which is a gorgeous flower. And I don't know if people noticed it down here, but a year or two ago there was an explosion of sphinx moths. They're actually the size of hummingbirds in the valley. Well, I would call it a mega explosion of them up in the High Sierra. And there were so many flying around as I was following my feet, seeing whatever I could find, that I even had to like lean back because they're like bombers. They just go right by me. And they're a super cool insect, by the way. Next. And then the gooseberry is a pretty important plant for foragers. And I didn't really see any at all in the burn zones until 2023 as well, and it's really starting to come back even more this past summer. So this is in the fall, and there were broken bits of gooseberry on the ground, and so underneath all the bushes, and it was just really nice to see that it was coming back. It's an important plant. Next. And I thought I'd end once again with the bluebird, because for me the bluebird is a real symbol of hope. And it seems to me that that's the theme of the service today. And I think I love the landscape up in the High Sierra, this part of the High Sierra, even more than I did before the fire. I'm just rooting for it. I'm rooting for this landscape. And it's just been such an honor and a privilege to have so many starstruck moments up there post-fire. Was not what I was expecting. And I'm just left with just the deepest feeling of hope. And I think we could all use a little hope. Thank you.
There is a heartache in these hills. I am not afraid. There is a heartache in these hills. I am not afraid. There is a heartache in these hills. Though some may tremble, I am still, but I say, hope lives in these quiet hills. There is a sadness in the land. I seek the taste of hope. There is a sadness in the land.
Thank you, Tai Tai and Lorenzo. What a perfect song to follow. Cecilia Sheeter's hopeful and inspirational talk. Thank you so much, Cecilia. Today is the second Sunday of the month, and on that Sunday, we hold a special offering for a local social justice group, organization, or individual that is in alignment with our Unitarian Universalist principles. This Sunday, we're pleased to welcome someone who is familiar to you, Cecily Callahan, who you may recognize as our coordinator of community life here at UUCF. She's also the founder and chief executive officer of Ash Tree Green Burial. Cecily will speak to us about their work. Welcome, Cecily.
Hello, my name is Cecily Callahan. My pronouns are she, her, and I stand before you now not as the coordinator of community life, but as the founder of Ash Tree Green Burial. Ash Tree Green Burial is a nonprofit with the mission of opening a green burial cemetery and providing other options for green disposition to the people of Fresno County. In a nutshell, green burial is the way burial was done pre-Civil War era. The body is not embalmed. It is placed in either a biodegradable casket or simple shroud, and then is placed directly into the ground without the use of a concrete grave liner. This way, the body can return directly to the earth, and the leaching of harmful chemicals into the earth and eventually groundwater is greatly reduced. I discovered green burial in 2008 when my grandmother passed away. I was 19, and it was the first time I was able to see what went into a typical funeral and burial preparations. It seemed to me like a lot of money and a lot of to-do for something that I believed shouldn't be so stressful and expensive at such an emotionally raw and trying time in someone's life. I also didn't like it that our burial practices were harming our ecosystem, and cremation was no better. I figured there had to be another option that wouldn't be so trying on both the loved ones left here or the earth itself. What I discovered was green burial. I started getting serious about opening a green burial cemetery in Fresno County in 2020. Ash Tree was officially formed 3 years ago on April 21st, 2022. Since then, we have launched a website, had a speaking engagement, tabled at various community events, started an email newsletter, and had an article written about our goals in the Fresno Bee. My goal is to have a cemetery open by 2030. We also hope to develop natural organic reduction or human composting facilities in the future once the green light is given in 2027. While these goals might be lofty to some, I believe it can happen with the help of our community. I fully understand that opening a new cemetery takes a lot of money, and no, I don't intend to raise all of that money today. There are plenty of permits, geological testing, hiring staff, and much more involved. We are also looking for land, so if you or anyone you know has farmland that they may be willing to have used for green burial, please let me know. Our mission statement is, Ash Tree Green Burial exists to provide people with an environmentally responsible disposition while also educating our community on the importance of giving back to the earth. Our goal is to provide a necessary service in an eco-friendly, minimally invasive, and meaningful way. Through green burials and death-positive education, we seek to return death care back into the hands of the family, honor our deceased, and be responsible ancestors that bequeath our descendants with healthy soil and clean water. Thank you so much for your support.
How impressive. So, in the spirit of giving, let's join our voices in the words of offering as they appear on the screen. If not us, then who? If not open hearts, then what? If not now, then when? If not here, then where? If not generously, then how? If not us, then who? Si no somos nosotros, entonces ¿quién? Si no corazones abiertos, entonces ¿qué? Si no es ahora, entonces ¿cuándo? Si no es aquí, entonces ¿dónde? Si no damos generosamente, entonces ¿cómo? Si no somos nosotros, entonces ¿quién? If this is your first or second time with us, please let the basket pass you by. Your being here today is your gift to us. You can also make an electronic donation from the comfort of your home or from the Alluvial Avenue Sanctuary. May this church continue to be worthy of the many forms of your gifts. As we extinguish the flame in our chalice, we ignite it within ourselves. Our commitment to our mission and to one another is an unquenchable flame. Let us remember that we are not alone. We remain in beloved community with one another until we light this flame next time. Please join me now in our chalice extinguishing words. Extinguimos esta llama,
pero no la luz de la verdad, el calor de comunidad o el fuego de nuestro compromiso. Estos los llevaremos en el corazón. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts.
We have some reminders today. So once again, Cecily Callahan magically appears. She's now our coordinator of community life. And she's here to help those of us who are new or newish get connected. Cecily can answer any of your questions and help orient you to this church. Please join us in the courtyard after church for coffee and conversation. For newcomers, we have a Q&A table with a member of our Board of Trustees. Just look for the turquoise tablecloth. Easy way to meet someone and have a conversation. Today is also our spring potluck. We hope everyone will stay and enjoy a meal in good company, whether you brought food or not. Also today at 12:30, Anna Gorney and Ellis Vance are leading the first session of Walking Where We Lived, which is a memoir about 6 generations of a North Fork Mono family. And you're welcome whether or not you've read the book or started it. It'll take place in the foyer. Next month is our monthly collection for food pantries at Wesley Methodist Church and Valley Children's Hospital. As you leave the sanctuary, Sharon and David will be passing out slips of papers with this month's food needs. Thank you for caring at a time when food pantries are running out of food to distribute due to increased needs. Next Saturday, from 10 a.m. to noon on Zoom, Reverend Tim and Cecily will be leading a crash course in Unitarian Universalism. It's a quick and easy way to get some of the basics and have your questions answered, and meet some other folks who are new to the church. And again, next Sunday, we hope you will be here and join Reverend Tim for our annual all-ages Easter service. It's a family-friendly service of music and reflection, and after the service, we'll have our annual Easter egg hunt. We have a tradition here at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Fresno. We like to acknowledge those of you who are with us for the first, second, or third time. We're happy and honored that you chose to be with us this morning. I invite those who are here for the first, second, or third time to please stand so that we can acknowledge you. We won't leave you standing alone for long. Anybody? Yeah. Welcome. Now let's all rise as we're willing and able. Join hands if you feel comfortable. Place your hand over your heart if you wish, or simply stand there in your own private space for our closing words and sung benediction. As we depart this sanctuary we have built this morning in community with one another, may we each find the balance point we need as we move through our ever-changing world. The balance between old and new, between the known and unknown, between the familiar and perhaps risky possibilities that may be there waiting. Que así sea, bendito sea, may it be so, blessed be, amen.
2, 3.
Go from here and here, go with love. Go from here and here, go with love. Go from here and here, go with love. In love. Go in
Shalom. Assalamu alaikum. 2, 3, 4.